हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू टेस्टबुक सुपर कोचिंग फॉर रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज। एक बार जल्दी बता दीजिए, एम आई ऑडिबल टू ऑल और नॉट? ऑडियो वीडियो सब कुछ सही है कि नहीं, एक बार कमेंट सेक्शन में डाल दीजिएगा। एंड वी विल स्टार्ट विद द टुडेज सेशन वेयर वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस अबाउट द इम्पोर्टेंट करंट अफेयर्स through MCQs as well as some important news from the newspaper. So in that way, we are going to cover today's session. So again, before going to start this session, before going to start today's lecture, if you have any questions, any queries, any kind of doubt, so please let me know in the comment section. So start karte hain आज के सेशन को. The first of all we are going to discuss some important MCQs which are there in news regarding the current affairs. Okay, again before going to start the session, you can follow this Telegram channel from where you will get all the notes as well as you are going to get the updates regarding the upcoming sessions. Okay, so first question on your screen. Monthly export from India's service industry reach an all-time high of how much billion dollar rupees? So recently, Commerce Ministry gave the data regarding the export, the Indian export, especially focusing on the service sector. So they ask about the valuation. So all-time high Indian service industry export reached to how much billion dollar? 31.62, 32.84, 33.17, 34.31 or 35.29. So let's see, let's discuss about that. So recently, the service industry export of India reached 34.31 billion. It is all-time high. So increase of 22.3%. That can be the another question for the exam point of view. यहाँ पे हमें थोड़ा focus करना पड़ेगा, यहाँ पे थोड़ा ध्यान देना जरूरी रहेगा. Other than that, India now export 257 billion worth of digital provided services, up from the a merge of 30 billion in 2005. 2005 में काफी weak था, उसके बाद से a huge increase is there. Since 2010, growth has been especially remarkable. By 2014, export had quarterly quadrupled to 20 billion to 80 billion. So काफी changes हुए. If we'll talk about the few days or few years, if comparison अगर किया जाए तो there are so many changes, especially focusing on the data centers. So much investment is coming regarding the data center in India. AI technology is also becoming a काफी kind of a very attractive part of investment in our country. That will be the another source of export in future, and that is the point mentioned by the Commerce Ministry. We'll go to the next question. The answer is D, $34.31 billion. Anti-dumping duty has been imposed by the Finance Ministry on digital plates from how many countries? Recently, Finance Ministry announced that they are going to impose anti-dumping duty, especially focusing on the digital plates. 5 years, this anti-dumping duty will be focusing on the 5 years if the country, the country is not able to change the amount or not going to change the rates, which the things which they are importing. Anti-dumping duty is basically when we are importing, if the cheap import is there, if the certain country's cheap import destroying or affecting Indian manufacturing or Indian industries, then that time we can impose anti-dumping duty. Anti-dumping duty is basically suggested by the Commerce Ministry and then imposed by the Finance Ministry. So recently, Government of India or the Finance Ministry announced that they are going to impose the anti-dumping duty on 5 countries. The name of those countries: China, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, and Vietnam. These countries are selling these digital plates in a very cheaper rate, and which is destroying actually Indian industry or Indian manufacturing, and for that purpose we decided to impose this anti-dumping duty. If the countries are ready to change the valuation, if the countries are ready to change what are the products they are selling in the country, then the anti-dumping duty will be removed. Otherwise, for next 5 years, this anti-dumping duty will be there on these products, which is also mentioned by the Finance Ministry. Anti-dumping duty means whenever the cheap import is trying to destroy the Indian industry or the domestic industry, that time we can impose some taxes on such kind of manufacturing called as a anti-dumping duty. We'll go to the next question. The next question on your screen. RBI proposed lookup facility for which of the following facilities by April 1? So lookup facilities, basically we use this facility for UPI, Unified Payment Interface. The same facility will be imposed on few other online transactions. So which are those transactions are asked by the examiner over here. So RBI proposed these facilities. Basically, what is the meaning of lookup facility? Whenever you are putting the phone number or you are scanning the QR code, before transacting the money or before transferring the money, you are going to get the name of that receiver. So through that we can confirm कि पैसा सही जगह जा रहा है या नहीं जा रहा है. So we can confirm those things. That is called as a lookup facility. So for which transactions we are now introducing the lookup facility? So answer of this question is NEFT and RTGS, because UPI and for IMPS these facilities are already there. For UPI basically introduce such kind of facility. Then IMPS के अंदर भी ये facility हमने already introduce कर दी है. Now this facility will be introduced for the real-time gross settlement and national electronic fund transfer. For both these internet banking platforms, now we are going to have this lookup facility. Now what exactly this lookup facility will be helpful, so that there should not be any wrong transfer of money, or there should not be any wrong transactions of money. So for that purpose, it will play a very, very vital role. RTGS and NEFT, they are directly coming under the RBI's purview. When it comes to UPI or the IMPS, going under the NPCI, National Payment Corporation of India. Of course, NPCI is regulated by RBI, but when it comes to RTGS and NEFT, directly RBI is handling the transactions or handling the operations of these two online transaction platform. RTGS, real-time gross settlement, minimum 2 lakh and above can be transferred under this particular facility, whereas NEFT you can transfer whatever the amount you want to transfer, and under NEFT batches में usually transactions पूरे किए जाते हैं. So answer of this question is 1 and 2 only. We'll go to the next question. India now ranks 4th in the world with the foreign exchange reserves that have risen to over how much US dollars. So India's forex reserve increase. In India, the forex reserve is responsibility of RBI, Reserve Bank of India, under the FIEBAA Act. RBI maintains forex reserve or the foreign exchange reserve under 4 categories. Foreign currency asset is a one category. Second is gold. Third is basically foreign currency asset, gold, then special drawing rights, and the fourth one is reserve tranche with IMF. So in that way, basically the forex reserves are maintained in India. So maximum foreign exchange reserve we are maintaining in the form of foreign currency asset. That is the topmost the platform where we are maintaining the forex reserves in India. Now India is at the 4th rank with 700 billion US dollars of the forex reserve, which is really very good. So recently this data is being given by the government of India on the year-end review. India surpassed China as the world's 2nd largest producer of the crude steel in 2024. That is another important factor for the exam point of view. Indian economy is currently 5th largest in the world, and it is moving closer to become the 3rd largest, which is also really important. And between 15 to 18, India rose 42 spots in the ease of doing business index. But unfortunately, after 2018, ease of doing business, this report was discontinued by the World Bank. Ease of doing report or ease of doing business report was given by the World Bank, but they discontinued due to some discrepancies. So, but whenever they used to give that report, India really performed well, and India's rank was increasing year on year. Other than that, the direct investment will talk about $709 billion from 14 to 24. That is another factor for the exam point of view. Okay. So yes, highest is in China. The foreign currency reserve is highestly or the largestly maintained by the China. We'll go to the next question regarding the Swamitva scheme. So under the Swamitva scheme, PM Modi issued over how many property cards in December 2024? Swamitva, survey of villages and mapping with improvised technology. Survey of villages and mapping with improvised technology. In year 2020, 2020 में स्वामित्व स्कीम को लॉन्च किया गया था. The purpose of this scheme is usually village areas, especially in the village areas, focusing on the village areas, a proper mapping, property cards, so that there should not be any kind of dispute. If government of India wants to acquire the land, the process should be very smooth. If there is any kind of dispute, to resolve those disputes, so we are using satellite technology, we are using drone technology for this Swamitva policy. So recently our Prime Minister provided 50 lakh property cards under this Swamitwa scheme. So owners in more than 46,000 villages spread across 200 districts in 10 states and the 2 union territories, they received this card. This kind of numbers will be also very important for the exam point of view. तो यहाँ पे भी हमें ध्यान रखना जरूरी होगा. We'll go to the next question. Answer is of course 50 lakhs. So next question on your screen. New and small business will get GST registration in how many working days according to new mechanism has got in principle approval from the GST Council. So GST Council's meeting was there in Jaisalmer recently. In the 55th meeting of GST Council, they decided to create some changes, to made some changes. But the GST Council, the 55th GST Council become very much in news due to some bad reasons, especially the taxes on popcorns, taxes on reselling of the vehicles, and etc. Now the GST Council also gave in principle approval to one of the very beautiful mechanism. In this mechanism or through this mechanism, small and new businesses will get the GST registration within 3 वर्किंग डेज. केवल 3 वर्किंग डेज के अंदर जीएसटी रजिस्ट्रेशन अभी अवेलेबल हो जाएगा एंड विच विल बी रियली वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड दैट्स द न्यूज. जीएसटी काउंसिल is under article number 279A of Indian Constitution, which is a constitutional body. GST Council is headed by Finance Minister of India, again the Deputy Finance Minister, and all the finance ministers of all states and union territories will be the part of this GST Council. So remember that factor. Yes, so 3 working days. Next question. Rural India, the average MPCE has been estimated to be how much rupees based on the household consumption expenditure survey. Yearly household consumption expenditure survey was recently given by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So according to them, monthly consumption expenditure कितना जाएगा रूरल एरिया के लिए, एंड दैट्स द क्वेश्चन. सो मंथली पर कैपिटा एक्सपेंडिचर की अगर हम बात करें, सो इंक्रीज ऑफ 9% when it comes to the rural areas and increase of 8% in the urban area. So MPCE increased 9% in the rural areas, whereas the 8% in the urban areas. That is a very important factor. If we talk about the numbers, 4122 rupees per month in the rural areas, and when it comes to the urban areas, it is the 6996 rupees. So these numbers are really very important. Household consumption expenditure survey is really very important data through which we can see that standard of living of the country is increasing. People are spending money on non-food products. Earlier, the dependency on the food products were very huge. But now people moved on and they are spending huge amount of money on the non-food products, especially lifestyle products, which shows that standard of living of the country is increasing. The expenditure pattern of the country is increasing and is really very crucial to know and to calculate various macroeconomic tools in the country. So Ministry of Statistics Program Implementation gave this data. Remember that. So 4122 rupees. We'll go to the next question. According to the Ministry of Finance, the Indian economy will expand by about how much percent in real terms during 24-25 fiscal year? So what will be India's GDP, which is recently presented by the Ministry of Finance? Yes, guys. So what can be the answer? Okay, I will explain in a very short way, okay, but we'll do one thing. In tomorrow's session, we will discuss it in a proper detail way. Tomorrow's session will be there. Now, the topic of excess money is basically how easily the money will be available for the common people. So, easy money availability will be the most important thing, because जितना पैसा इजीली अवेलेबल होगा, जितना ट्रांजैक्शंस के लिए इजी वे अवेलेबल होगा, उतना मार्केट में लिक्विडिटी काफी बेटर होगी. दैट इज अ मेजर रीजन बिहाइंड दैट. ऑफ कोर्स देयर आर सम अदर मैकेनिज्म, देयर आर अदर वेज, सो वी विल डिस्कस अबाउट दोज मैकेनिज्म एंड दोज वेज इन टुमारो सेशन. सो आई विल ब्रिंग द हिंदू आर्टिकल and we'll analyze that article properly. But right now, just remember that we want to pour more liquidity in the market so that the GDP should grow properly, and that is one of the major reason behind such kind of thing which is mentioned in that article जो आपने यहाँ पे लिखा है. Answer of this question is 6.5%. So RBI is expecting 6.6%, whereas Government of India is expecting 6.5%. So Government of India is having little bit less optimistic than the RBI. So 6.6% is mentioned by the Reserve Bank of India in the last monetary policy. Let's hope for the better, because economy should grow with 7% or more than 7% if we really want to see India as a developed country, as a Vikasit Bharat by 2047. So for that purpose, we required the GDP of 7% or more than that in every quarter and almost every financial year. So let's hope for that. But right now, 7% will looks kind of difficult. If we'll see the present situation or the last quarter situation, it seems a bit difficult, but you never know. Some quarter can perform, some quarter can outperform. So that is a hope by the Government of India. Anyways, the next part, we'll start with the discussion. Now, in today's session, we are going to discuss some very, very important news, some announcements from the cabinet, and some year-end review by the Government of India, especially by the Finance Ministry. The first news is about one scheme. The scheme which is started, the implementation of the scheme started from the 1st of Jan. Means कल से इस scheme का implementation start हो गया है. A very famous scheme which was announced by the cabinet in 2024, mostly in the month of August it was announced. So name of the scheme is One Nation, One Subscription. So this is very, very famous scheme. This scheme was launched in year 2024 only. The purpose of this scheme is to eligible students, faculties, research scientists with access to top tier international research article and journals. It will cover 6300 government managed higher education institution and central government managed research and development institution. So basically the purpose of this One Nation, One Subscription is that every student or the researcher or academics, they should get the access to the research paper. They should get the access to the various research oriented articles, so that in India the research work should go very streamlined way and with the international recognition, and that is a major purpose over here. This policy started implementing from the 1st of Jan 2025. The total budget allocation for this policy is 6,000 crore. That will be the major factor for the exam point of view. 6,000 crore for 3 years, 25, 26, 27. So 3 years mentioned by the Government of India, 3 calendar year mentioned by the Government of India. Usually schemes हम financial year के starting से देखते हैं, but this scheme started from the calendar year, and that is really very important. Now, under this scheme, 3 parties will play the vital role: central government, state government, and research and development institutions of the central government. So yes, state and central government together going to work for implementation of this One Nation, One Subscription, and the R&D department or R&D institution of Government of India, जो अलग-अलग institutions है. Now, this whole policy will be implemented by University Grant Commission with the help of Information and Library Network. So remember that again, UGC is going to play the vital role. No education ministry, no Niti Aayog or no other department. UGC directly is going to implement this policy, and this policy is going to benefit 1.8 crore students in 6300 institution. That is another important factor for the exam point of view, and that is all about this policy. So our major focus is global research participation. So Vikasit Bharat 2047, India should be the global leader when it comes to research work, when it comes to documentation of the research work. That is a major focus mentioned by the Prime Minister of India. So again, the policy is really very important. From the 1st of Jan, Government of India started implementing this policy. UGC started implementing this policy, and this policy right now is announced for 3 years, 25, 26, 27. 6,000 crore is being allocated for this particular policy. That's all from this particular news. Okay, chalo. Now, Ministry of Finance year ender 2024, Department of Economic Affairs. So Finance Ministry's various departments are giving some data. Year end review. So what kind of important things they implemented in throughout the year, those things they have mentioned. So Economic Affairs department is there, and that department gave some important insights that throughout the year what kind of policies we have implemented under this department, under this ministry. So let's talk about that. First of all, there is a currency swap agreement for the SAARC countries. that was signed officially. So INR swap window of 25,000 crore to supplement the USD Euro swap window. So rupee swap window यहाँ पे introduce किया गया 25,000 करोड़ का with the SAARC nation. That is really very important. Then India UAE bilateral investment treaty, then India Uzbekistan bilateral investment treaty, then joint task force on investment with Qatar, then support of Sri Lanka's economic stability. These are the major things mentioned by the government of India and implemented by government of India in 2024. Other than that, ease of doing business reforms, we have introduced certain reforms also. We'll talk about those reforms in this session itself. And domestic economic strengthening, of course, if we are having some reforms, so economy is going to strengthen properly. So let's talk about this. Let's discuss about this, what kind of things we have implemented. The first thing is regarding the framework on currency swap agreement with the SAARC nation. SAARC, South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation. 8 countries are there under SAARC: Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka and Maldives. So 8 countries group SAARC. Currency swap agreement was already there with the SAARC countries, but we introduced rupee INR currency of 25,000 crore under this, and this is really very important. The framework, the currency swap framework of the SAARC is originally implemented in 2012. So original swap agreement was in 2012. Dollar and euro swap options were available earlier. Now the INR or the rupee, Indian rupee option is now also available with the amount of 25,000 crore that is mentioned by the government of India. Due to such kind of introduction, obviously Indian rupee will become internationalized because we are giving option to the our neighboring countries that they can also use the rupee, the swap option rather than depending on the dollar and the euros. The over dependency on dollar and euros can create a huge problem for the local currencies of many emerging economies. We can see right now dollar become more stronger, and that's why many emerging economies are facing huge troubles with their currency valuation, and that's why the introduction of the rupee swap will be really very helpful for the SAARC country, and that is a major factor announced by the government of India in June 2024. So इसी साल इसे announce किया गया 25,000 crore INR. Okay. Now the next point is about the India UAE bilateral investment treaty. India UAE, we already have the free trade agreement. So other than that free trade agreement, we again sign another agreement called as a bilateral investment treaty. So many Indian businesses are working from the UAE, and so many UAE investors, they want to invest into India, and for that purpose 31st of August government of India signed this agreement. It will be really very helpful for India because UAE having huge amount of money, having huge capacity, so those the investors of the country, so those investors from the UAE, they can invest into India, and that is a major focus over here by the mentioned by the government of India. So this treaty is on their year-end review. Another treaty, India-Uzbekistan treaty, which was signed on 27th of September 2024, India-Uzbekistan. The other major focus of this treaty is that mutual appropriate protectionist investments for both the nations, then minimum standards treatment and the non-discrimination while providing for independent forum, then protection for investments and the explorations, provides the transparency. Basically, Uzbekistan, if they want to invest in India or Indian investors want to invest in Uzbekistan, then a protection, mutual respect, the proper uniform law should be created so that there should not be any exploration or there should not be any exploitation of the investors. That is a point mentioned by this particular treaty between India and Uzbekistan. This treaty was signed by the Indian finance minister and the Uzbekistan's counterpart. Then another joint task force on investment between India and Qatar. India-Qatar joint task force being created, and this task force was first time introduced in the month of June 2024. Especially 6th of June, this was introduced, a task force for the future investment purposes between India and Qatar. Especially with respect to sports, India and Qatar having very good agreement which was already implemented. So Qatar, they organized the FIFA World Cup last time. So during that time itself, India and Qatar signed the sports agreement because Qatar having very good and very huge facilities when it comes to the sports infrastructure. So Indian sports person can use those facilities. For that purpose, we signed the agreement. But now the relationship here, we want to focus on the investments. So there should be more investment from the Qatar to India. Qatar is obviously one of the rich country. Many Indian laborers are working from Qatar. So Qatar's human resource is depending on India, and for that purpose we signed this. We created this forum for the investment purposes. So Commerce Ministry was the nodal authority for this investment purpose forum. Then MOU between Sri Lanka and Exim Bank of India. Sri Lanka were facing the economic troubles, and to help them these economic troubles, India was the biggest or the largest loan supplier or the fund supplier to Sri Lanka. So Exim Bank represented India with various types of loans to the Sri Lankan government. So basically we signed letter of credit with them. 718.12 million was a letter of credit which we have signed, and Exim Bank signed with them. Overall, if we'll talk about the overall the financial support to the this particular country is more than $10 billion by India overall, because SBI also played a vital role. SBI provided certain amount of loan to the small industries working in Sri Lanka. Then Exim Bank was already there. Some other private investments were also invested in Sri Lanka. So overall, near about $10 billion invested by various government authorities, either government of India or the private authorities in Sri Lanka in last few years. Other than that, India, Japan and France, these three countries created one forum so that they should work on the stabilization of Sri Lanka. So Japan, India, France, these three countries came together to work on the Sri Lankan economic stability. So for their stability, these three countries are working day and night, and they created the forum. That is another factor which is important for the exam point of view. ये भी ध्यान रखिएगा. Now another is the development of National Infra Readiness Index. National Infra Readiness Index was also introduced in the month of September 2024. सो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कितना रेडी है. सो यहाँ पे जो इंडेक्स आएगा, इस इंडेक्स के अंदर स्टेट और यूटीज के एंगल में रिपोर्ट्स प्रेजेंट किए जाएंगे. वी आर एट टू पब्लिश द रिपोर्ट, बट वी क्रिएटेड दिस particular index, a new index, and through that index we will come to know infrastructure किस तरीके से देश का improve हो रहा है. So NIRI is the name of the concept called as a National Infrastructure Readiness Index, was introduced in the month of September 2024, and depending on this survey we are going to check कि states और UTs में किस तरीके से infrastructure increase हुआ है, मिनिस्ट्रीज और डिपार्टमेंट वाइज किस तरीके से इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलप हुआ है, उन सबका डेटा जो है वो यहाँ पे मेंटेन किया जाएगा. अदर देन दैट, environment angle will also be considered while calculating this particular index, while calculating particular this data. So that is another factor for the exam point of view. Okay, and now amendments for ease of doing business, which I was talking about in the beginning. Now there are some regulations, date of amendments and its impact is mentioned over here. All the regulations are not that important, but we are going to see all the regulations. The first is the Overseas Direct Investment Regulation. 12th of July it was introduced. So to facilitate ease of doing in overseas investments. So overseas investment में ease of doing लाने के लिए we made some changes. Then Foreign Exchange Management non-debt instrument, 16th of August, enable cross-border share swap. क्रॉस बॉर्डर शेयर स्वैप के लिए इसको इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया है. ग्लोबल एक्सपेंशन ऑफ इंडियन कंपनीज थ्रू मर्जर्स एक्विजिशंस. सो बेसिकली इंडियन कंपनीज और इंडियन इन्वेस्टर्स को ग्लोबलाइज्ड लेवल पे ले जाने के लिए इस कंसेप्ट को इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया है, सो दैट देयर शुड नॉट बी एनी काइंड ऑफ restrictions on the transfer of shares, transfer of money, transfer of investment, and for that purpose we launched this. Again, white label ATMs के FDI को भी यहाँ पे अलाउ किया गया. White label ATMs, so if any foreign company they want to start ATMs in India, they can start ATMs. So for that purpose FDI rules is being changed by the government of India. Then foreign exchange rules, 12th of September, streamline process the compounding application, introducing digital payment options for application fees for compounding amounts. Suppose for example some investors or some companies they want to invest in India, they want to start their business in India. So whatever the fees are there, so digital transition, digital applications are also allowed. So there should not be any paperwork or delay due to paperwork. That is a major purpose here. Then security contracts amendment rules on the 18th of August facilitate the listing of securities of public Indian companies on gift city. So to promote more and more investment in the gift city, to focus more and more on the gift cities, we created or we changed these rules under the Security Exchange Act, especially focusing on the government companies. So these are the ease of doing businesses or some amendments through which investment will get attracted to this country, and more investment will reach will be helpful for more employment, more GDP growth, more manufacturing, obviously more export. So that is a major focus behind this ease of doing businesses or ease of doing announcement. So ये year end review का data है which is given by, which is presented by Finance Ministry under Economic Affairs Department. I will record one video in which we are going to review all the decisions taken by the Finance Ministry and its various department. Right now, Finance Ministry only announced 2 or 3 departments. Very soon they will announce the rest of the departments. So I will merge all the data and will present in front of you, so that before the budget, before the economic survey, you will have the complete idea. The major announcements by the government of India will be in front of you, especially regarding the Finance Ministry. Same for the NABARD. I will come up with the year end review of the Agriculture Ministry, so that you should have the complete information with you. Now, yesterday, the 1st of Jan, Government of India announced few cabinet decisions. So one of the major cabinet decisions, especially focusing on the agriculture, is more subsidy on the DAP. So diammonium phosphate will get more subsidy, and the subsidy started from the 1st of Jan 2025. So more subsidy announcement. Already we are providing subsidy for these fertilizers under the NBS, nutrient based subsidy scheme is there. Under that scheme we are already providing subsidy, but more than that we are going to provide subsidy especially for the DAP. Now why more subsidy on the DAP? The reason is that diammonium phosphate is very much depending on the international import के ऊपर बहुत depend करता है, and especially import is becoming more volatile due to the issues in the Gulf country, the geopolitical issues. The valuation of the DAP is very liquid these days, very volatile these days, and to stabilize that, to minimize the impact on farmers, we decided to provide more subsidy to the farmer. So 3500 rupees per metric ton will be the extra subsidy, and that subsidy calculation will start from the 1st of Jan 2025, which is mentioned by the Government of India. So that is the major reason. The reasons are here why we are providing these extra subsidy, because of the geopolitical reasons. The total budget allocation for this is 3850 crore. Already the farmer will continue to get 1350 per bag. 50 kg का जो बैग होता है उसके ऊपर उसकी वैल्यूएशन 1350 रहेगी. ये ऑलरेडी गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया मेंशन्ड ओवर हियर. नाउ विल टॉक अबाउट न्यूट्रिएंट बेस्ड सब्सिडी. न्यूट्रिएंट बेस्ड सब्सिडी बेसिकली एग्रीकल्चर के लिए जो फर्टिलाइजर जो न्यूट्रिएंट्स लगते हैं उसके लिए सब्सिडी होती है. इन ईयर 2010 वी इंट्रोड्यूस द न्यूट्रिएंट बेस्ड सब्सिडी. सो द scheme was launched in 2010. The scheme is majorly focusing on the nitrogen, phosphate, potash and sulfur. On these 4 factors, they are the 4 nutrients mentioned by the Government of India: nitrogen, phosphate, potash and the sulfur. So that is a major focus. It doesn't include the यूरिया बेस्ड सब्सिडी. इसमें यूरिया बेस्ड सब्सिडी यहाँ पे नहीं इंट्रोड्यूस की गई है, तो ये भी एक फैक्टर ध्यान रखिएगा, एग्जाम के लिए जरूरी है. सो डैप इज अ फॉस्फोरस बेस्ड सब्सिडी. सो यहाँ पे जो कंजम्पशन है वो भी एनपीके का जो कंजम्पशन है वो बेसिकली 4:2:1 ये मेंशन किया गया है, तो ये भी है. तो ऑलरेडी डैप इज अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस सब्सिडी. डैप इस सब्सिडी का पार्ट होता है, पर अगेन एक्स्ट्रा सब्सिडी विल बी प्रोवाइडेड बाय द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया. ये पॉइंट मेंशन किया गया है, तो ये याद रखिएगा, और 1st of Jan से इसको इंप्लीमेंट करना शुरू कर देंगे. Obviously, those who are giving the NABARD exam, they know about this, but it is extra information for especially those students. They have a little bit confusion regarding the Rabi and the Kharif crop. So difference is there between the Rabi and Kharif crop. Remember that. Nutrient based subsidies for all types of crops, either Rabi, Kharif or the Zaid. So all types of crops we are having this nutrient based subsidy. This is just a simple information for those who are having confusion with the Rabi and Kharif season. Now another announcement by the Government of India focusing on Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana and restructured weather based crop insurance scheme. Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana was launched in 2016. The weather-based crop insurance scheme was launched in 2009, again relaunched in 2016. तो 2016 में हमने इसका रिलॉन्च किया एंड फसल बीमा योजना को नए सिरे से शुरू किया. Now government of India decided to extend the scheme for the next financial year. 2025-26 के लिए इसे extend करने की बात की है. Total budget allocation will be 69,515 crore rupees for these two schemes mentioned by the government of India. The another fund government of India is creating, and the name of the fund is called as the Fiat Fund. Government of India is creating, called as a Fund for Innovation and Technology is the name of the fund. 8 to 4.77 crore 8 to 4.77 crore is allocated for this Fiat Fund. Fiat का full form है Fund for Innovation and Technology. So under that, government of India will try to include more technology, more innovative ideas for the Fasal Bima Yojana. For example, we have some technological ideas like winds. Winds is the idea we have called as a weather information network data system is already there. That is one of the use of technology, one of the innovative idea to calculate the Fasal Bima Yojana's the returns. We have another concept called as the Tech. Tech is yield estimation system based on technology. So technology के भरोसे yield कितनी आ सकती है, प्रोडक्टिविटी कितनी हो सकती है. तो ऐसे ही कुछ और इनोवेशंस के लिए, ऐसे ही कुछ और टेक्नोलॉजीज के लिए दिस 8 to 4.77 करोड़ अमाउंट इज बीइंग गिवन बाय गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया. दिस इज द न्यू अनाउंसमेंट. सो यहां पे क्वेश्चन जो है वो एग्जाम में बन सकते हैं, ये फैक्टर ध्यान रखिएगा. ओके, नाउ विल टॉक अबाउट the Fasal Bima Yojana. Okay, Fasal Bima Yojana was launched in 2016. Agriculture Farmer Welfare Ministry is responsible for that. All foods and oilseed crops are included into the Fasal Bima Yojana. Then 2% premium is prescribed for the Kharif crop, 1.5% premium for the Rabi crop, and 5% premium for the horticulture and the commercial crop, which is announced by the government of India. When it comes to restructure weather-based scheme, again, it was originally 2009 scheme, again reintroduced in 2016 under the Ministry of Agriculture Farmer Welfare, aims to mitigate the hardship of the insured farmer against the likelihood of financial loss on account of anticipated crop loss resulting adverse weather condition. I want to tell you one thing. Extreme or the extreme weather conditions के टाइम पे ये स्कीम काम करेगी. फसल बीमा योजना रहेगा. इसके अलावा दिस इज द एक्स्ट्रा हेल्प द फार्मर्स आर गेटिंग ड्यूरिंग द एक्सट्रीम वेदर कंडीशंस. आई विल शो यू द डॉक्यूमेंट, आई विल शो यू देयर वेबसाइट. वहां से थोड़ी सी आइडिया शायद आपको और अच्छे से आ जाएगी. जस्ट गिव मी 1 minute. Yes, so if possible, their website is there. So New India Assurance, because it is one of the partner for this scheme. So you can see the scheme is यहाँ पे restructure weather based crop insurance scheme. Weather perils to be covered, deficit rainfall, excess rainfall, unreasoned rainfall, etc. So extreme weather conditions, जब weather conditions बहुत extreme रहेगी, उस situation पे ये provide किया जाएगा, ऐसा उनका कहना है. तो फसल बीमा योजना के अलावा अगर still there are so much financial losses, there are so many other issues, then this scheme will be complementary for the farmers, and that is mentioned. So high temperature, low temperature, relative humidity, wind speeds, so completely focusing on the weather. Whereas फसल बीमा योजना includes all other factors, बाकी भी सारे factors है, weather के अलावा बाकी भी factors फसल बीमा योजना में include रहेंगे. यहाँ पे केवल extreme weather factors को ही include करने की बात गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने की हुई है, and that is another major factor. Now obviously फसल बीमा योजना or the restructure weather based insurance scheme, state and center both are going to play the role. So central government, the contribution will be 50%, states government contribution will be 50%, whereas if the states are northeastern or the Himalayan state, then center is going to contribute 90% and state is going to contribute 10%. There is another factor mentioned here by the government of India. Okay? Yes, for RBI grade B, current affairs is very important. The day you start your preparation, don't behave like a banking student. 3 months का ही पढ़ते, 6 months का ही पढ़ते. Don't do that, because the current affairs, the importance is really, really crucial. And they are not only asking current affairs in the phase 1, but the current affairs based questions in the phase 2 as well as in the interview. So whole year current affairs is really very important for you. So the day you start preparing for the RBI grade B, start reading current affairs. Current affairs should be the first subject you should touch then only it will be very helpful, because this subject is not like कि बस ये 2-4 MCQ solve कर लिए, 2-4 पैटर्न solve कर लिए तो एग्जाम निकल जाएगी. The way they are asking current affairs is about conceptual understanding and how you are linking your current affairs to the basic knowledge. That's why it is really very important. Won't PM Fasal Bima Yojana help the extreme weather condition too? Okay, like I have mentioned. Other than that, यहाँ पे clearly mention भी किया. I'll show you the thing. Okay, I will read the line again for you. Okay, it aims to mitigate the hardship of the insured farmers against the likelihood of financial losses on account of anticipated crop loss resulting from adverse weather condition relating to the rainfall, temperature, wind, humidity. So यहाँ पे basically focus ये है कि फसल बीमा योजना में हेल्प तो मिल रही है, okay, but again the help can be limited. So if there are some extreme conditions or again the repetitive weather conditions, ये एक बार आपने बीमा के लिए क्लेम कर लिया, वापस कोई रिपीटेटिव कंडीशन अगर आती है, एक्सट्रीम कंडीशन आती है और जो फाइनेंशियल लॉसेस फसल बीमा में आपके सॉल्व नहीं होते, देन दिस योजना विल कम, this scheme will come as a complementary to the farmer, will be helpful for the farmer in an additional way, and that is the major purpose behind this restructured weather-based crop insurance scheme. That's the case. Now the next news is very simple. UIDAI got the new CEO on the 1st of Jan. So 1995 batch IS officer from Uttar Pradesh cadre Bhunesh Kumar become the new head of Unique Identification Authority of India, Aadhaar card. Aadhaar card comes under UIDAI. We all know about that. So the new head of UIDAI, the new CEO of this institution is Bhunesh Kumar. Bhunesh Kumar sir is basically IS officer, like I have already mentioned, and UIDAI was created in 2009, through which we are handling the Aadhaar card system. Nandan Nilekani committee was responsible to give the idea of Aadhaar card, to give the idea of UIDAI. So Nandan Nilekani, the co-founder of Infosys, is also called as father of Aadhaar card in India or the UIDAI in India. So that authority is now handled as the CEO by the Bhunesh Kumar sir. Again, UIDAI comes under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and sir is also additional secretary under Ministry of Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and also the CEO of this institution. Now, UPI transaction hit record 16.7 billion in December. December month is always good for the UPI, always good, because it's a festival season, it's a holiday season, and during that season, obviously, UPI transaction increases. So NPCI, National Payment Corporation of India, is having habit of giving monthly data regarding the transactions. So they give the data of UPI transaction. So 16.73 billion, 8% increase when it comes to compared to the November month. We'll talk to the value. So value is 23.25 trillion. Volume means number of transaction. Value means how much amount of money is being transacted. Then IMPS 441 million. Then again value is 6.02. Then FASTag 382 million, 6,642, and Aadhaar enabled payment system 93 million, 24,020 crore. So again, you need not to remember the numbers right now. Again, numbers are not the priority for us right now, because every month this number is going to change. But for your understanding, remember, whenever festival seasons are there, UPI transactions are increasing. But obvious, even GST is also going to increase, because during festival season, during holiday season, there are so many transactions. Market थोड़ा booming होता है और उस situation में transaction automatically बढ़ जाएंगे. Now this is another important news. Air India is going to become the first domestic airlines which is going to introduce Wi-Fi in the domestic planes. Domestic planes में जब air में होगा तो Wi-Fi introduce करने वाला, this will be the first company, Air India, and that is a big news. Right now they are going to introduce this facility only for the bigger planes or the business class facilities. उनके लिए इसे introduce किया जाएगा, and धीरे धीरे it will be introduced for all other passengers. So Air India is going to become the first plane to introduce Wi-Fi in the domestic planes. That will be the important factor. Now GST collection, again monthly GST collection data is presented by Government of India. So in the month of December, the GST collection was 1.76 trillion rupees. That is 1.76 lakh crore was the GST collection in the month of December. It's a big इनकम के रिफंड द ग्रॉस कलेक्शन अप टू 7.3 टू 1.76 ट्रिलियन, ये ध्यान रखना। ये नेट जीएसटी 1.54 ग्रॉस amount is here. So gross and net, both the numbers are presented by the government of India, presented by the tax departments. Again, if the GST collection is increasing, which shows the economic activities are also going good, वो भी अच्छे से जा रही है. But the way finance ministry is increasing GST numbers or introducing GST for many factors, this number is again going to increase the year on year or the month on month. Especially festival season, we can see the very good numbers regarding the GST. Again, finance ministry asked banks and insurers to expedite the grievance resolution. Now this is the big thing. Finance ministry directly asked all the banks, not only government banks but the private banks also and the insurance companies also, to streamline the grievance mechanism. Basically, finance ministry especially focused on the public sector banks and the government insurance companies, because grievance redressal is very slow. The rate of grievance redressal is very slow with these banks, and that's why cases are increasing towards the banking ombudsman or the integrated ombudsman. अगर बैंक ही ग्रीवेंस रिड्रेसल कर देगी, वहीं पे प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर लेगी, तो केसेस ऑम्बुड्समैन के पास नहीं जाएगी. 1 मंथ का टाइम होता है. सपोज फॉर एग्जांपल मेरे अकाउंट से पैसे मुझे बिना बताए कट कर दिए, सो आई कैन कंप्लेन टू द बैंक. 1 मंथ का टाइम होता है बैंक के पास प्रॉब्लम को रिजॉल्व करने के लिए, एंड मेनी ऑफ द टाइम्स पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स आर नॉट इवन रिस्पॉन्डिंग टू दीज कंप्लेंट्स. So after that, the complaint will go to the integrated ombudsman when it comes to banks, and insurance ombudsman when it comes to the insurance companies. And due to that, the workload is increasing. If the banks are going to resolve those complaints there and there, the problems will be very easy and the issues will be solved as soon as possible. And that's why finance ministry asked all the banks and the insurance company, but especially public sector banks and public sector insurance companies, to take care of such kind of grievance redressal, and that is a factor mentioned here. Now this article is just for your read, just for your read. Obviously no questions will be asked, no direct questions will be asked from this article, but the new RBI governor, he talked about the customer centricity, user friendly services. So RBI governor, whenever the RBI governor, RBI deputy governor giving the press conferences or speaking their minds, we should know about that. Because due to that, we can understand what kind of strategies RBI is going to come up with, what kind of economic decisions RBI is going to take, and we should focus on those strategies, those kind of announcement. So remember one thing, whenever RBI governor, whenever RBI deputy governor or any kind of authority from the RBI, they are speaking their minds, they are giving the interviews, or they are giving some notifications, so we should know about those things. So it's just for your reading. Read this article, a very simple and very straightforward article by the new RBI governor Sanjay Malhotra sir, so it will be important for you. Okay, so yes guys, ग्रॉस और नेट में फर्क क्या होता है is about the returns, my dear friend. Okay, sometimes we are overpaying the taxes, so returns will be calculated. Sometimes there is a errors while calculating the GST, so that's the major difference between gross and net. Okay, so errors as well as the returns, these are the major factors when it comes to the gross and net of GST. Okay, that's it. Basically in exams, when it comes to the phase 1, they usually ask the gross numbers. They usually ask the gross numbers, like month of April will be the biggest number. अप्रैल का नंबर हमेशा ज्यादा ही रहेगा, बिकॉज अप्रैल मंथ में जीएसटी रिटर्न्स का टाइम होता है. सो वो जो नंबर है वो नंबर हमेशा अप्रैल में ज्यादा रहेगा. तो पूरे साल भर में द बिगेस्ट और द सबसे ह्यूज नंबर हमेशा अप्रैल में दिखाई देगा. सो इस साल का नंबर शायद सारे रिकॉर्ड ब्रेक कर सकता है. दिस इज द पॉसिबिलिटी अगेन. ओके, सो यस गाइस, दैट्स ऑल फ्रॉम माय साइड फॉर द डे. लक्ष्य 2.0 बैच ऑलरेडी स्टार्ट हो चुकी है. फेज 1, फेज 2 एज वेल एज इंटरव्यूज, तीनों फेजेस यहां पे हमारी टीम आपके लिए कवर करेगी. तो बैच की शुरुआत हो गई है, इस बैच में एनरोल करना मत भूलिएगा. सो दैट्स ऑल गाइस फ्रॉम माय साइड. विल सी यू इन द नेक्स्ट सेशन. तब तक के लिए बाय बाय, टेक केयर.